what are some side hustles for PAs and NPs? That gets asked a lot online. So in this video, I'm going to explore some medical and non-medical side hustles so that you can earn a bit of extra money. And some of these side hustles I've been using to make an extra $10 or even $20,000 a year, guys. And my wife knows I love my side hustles because I have like 6 of them. She just won't let me start that OnlyFans because I know that would be the best one of them all. I'm going to be breaking down this video into 3 parts: understanding a side hustle and a side business. Then I'm going to share some non-medical side hustle ideas for those who have passions outside of medicine. And then finally, some medical side hustles for those who are looking at income as a primary motivator. But before you rush in and get started with the side hustle, just understand a few things. First of all, this is not a get rich quick scheme. A lot of these side hustles need a bit of time to nurture and grow. Unless you go and pick up a second job, you're not going to be earning money based off of your passions right away. Another thing you need to understand before you get involved with the side hustle is to do a little bit of introspection, do a bit of reflection, and what is your goal behind the side hustle in the first place? Do you want to make as much money as possible to pay down loans? Are you using your side hustle to escape from your specialty or medicine altogether? Do you want a way to spend time on your days off? Do you have a creative passion you'd love to explore more? Do you want to meet and interact with people? Or do you want to stay virtual? Do you want something that is more rigid of a side hustle, like it has a set schedule? Or are you looking for something asynchronously where you can work on a project on your own time at your own convenience? For me, the reason I think I have side hustles is because I'm a very creative person at heart. And unfortunately, the arts don't pay all too well. I speak French fluently and have learned some Italian, so I use my French skills to make a website. I played in an orchestra and even composed my own music. I wrote books and articles for blogs for many years, dabble in photography and videography, as you can see here. There are a lot of passions, but not enough time in the day to pursue everything. But you already know, with a lot of creative endeavors, it's sort of hard to make money. People have a regular day job and then oftentimes pursue these other creative endeavors as a side business. And I think that's a good idea. A side hustle usually involves having a knowledge base, valuable skill, or maybe even equipment is hard to procure, and using that stuff, leveraging those things to offer your service or your goods to other people for money. You are offering value to people, and in turn, those people are exchanging money for that value. So when you think of a side hustle in this manner, almost anything can become a side hustle. And this now gives you basically limitless opportunities to go out there and earn extra money. For example, say you like to cook food. You could leverage that by making food for people to sell on a small scale. In my area, we know of people who make homemade chocolates, homemade cheesecake, cookies, and resell them to coworkers or the community for income. Obviously, you need to follow all of your local laws and, food preparation standards, whatever. Or say you have equipment available to do snow removal for your own house and then start offering those services to neighbors and others in your community so that when the snow starts falling, you can earn an extra 5, 10 grand in a winter season. Another example is if you own a camera and you love to shoot portraits of your family, your friends, and then you start an Instagram page. And then, all of a sudden people are contacting you, hey, I want my family photographed too. And you develop that into a photography business. I have some more relevant examples from just people I know. My own mother loves antiques and fine arts, and what started as rummaging through thrift shops and garage sales became a flourishing business where she goes to auctions and she buys and resells antiques. My own father is not a tradesman by profession, but has a side business installing graphics and banners. I know of a nurse who leverages his skills as a handyman to make tens of thousands of dollars a year, doing odd jobs for people like installing staircases, changing out water heaters, doing various home improvement projects. There is an NP I know that does locums work for an ER, but then has a side hustle at an urgent care to earn extra money. Now that you understand there are almost limitless opportunities for side hustles, what are some non-medical side hustles first? And then we will talk about some medical side hustles. We already work in 9 to 5 jobs, so maybe you don't want to actually spend your free time doing more healthcare. You may not make as much money, so I'm just going to list off a few of them and some of them that I even do, and just have you guys ponder about this. Here's the list. The first thing on my list would be real estate. This is not the easiest side hustle, but when you have this, it can be very lucrative. I know of physicians that were able to exit medicine altogether because of their robust real estate portfolio. My own example is I used to own an Airbnb. Are you serious right now? My own example is I used to own an Airbnb. I was operating a one bedroom out of my townhouse, and that would earn ten to $13,000 a year, guys. It wasn't even like a whole Airbnb. I was just renting out one room. So believe it or not, you could start with the own space that you own, or go acquire something, and rent it to long-term tenants. That's always a possibility. Not the easiest thing to do, but definitely an option for a side hustle. Another idea would be a local service-based business. You could start simple with things like pressure washing, lawn care, junk removal, a moving service, a car detailing service, basic auto repair. The advantage of some of these jobs is that you could start off slow, start off on your own schedule, and then as you get too busy to do all the work, you can hire people out or help when you are short on time. My next suggestion would be sports related jobs. If you played a sport like soccer, football, hockey, rugby, there are referees for leagues in your area, and they are paid money to referee matches. Or you could go to that next level and get a personal trainer certificate and do personal training either through a gym or privately for clients. Another suggestion would be to just get regular employment in what I would call a lifestyle job. PAs are online sharing that they might not necessarily make a ton of money doing these gigs, but they find some sort of pleasure or passion from it, or it has some ancillary benefit. I know there are some PAs who say they are tour guides or travel guides for a city. I know PAs that say they want to be a barista on the side. There's some PAs that enjoy lifeguarding. And I know personally of some that do ski patrol for the winter, which you could technically argue is a medical job. Then they get pay and perks of the park, like they get to go, ski or snowboard for free. So those are some perks. My next non-medical side hustle would be to produce art. And this is a very generic term, whether that is painting, drawing, writing books. You could sell your wares locally or online via sites like Etsy or the Amazon Kindle store. If you're good enough, you can do photography or sell lessons on these skills. I would also say starting a blog, a website, a YouTube channel, all of that sort of follows under making art. Another idea is for online reselling. Some people make a living by knowing a particular niche of an item really well and then buying and reselling those items on sites like eBay. Tech gadgets seem to do really well in this space, but I know of someone who buys and resells comic books after they're graded. Really like Pokemon cards, vintage watches, World War II memorabilia, vintage clothing, books. These are all possibilities of buying items and reselling it for a profit. And my last non-medical side hustle would be to use a site like Fiverr or Upwork and look at freelancing gigs that they offer. I mean, some of them do require a good amount of skills, but other of them are just sort of, anyone can do it if they have the right setup and equipment. For instance, I could do translation work or flex my French language skills here, but I've also seen people do simple things like making voiceovers for commercial work, graphic design. You're good at animation, script writing, editing, web design, more. So those are some examples of non-medical side hustles. And now I'm going to share some medical side hustles. But first, you guys can take a quick second and hit that like button down below. It helps the channel out so much. It really helps us get seen by more people on YouTube. Thank you. Medical side hustles may not be as exciting as a non-medical gig, but they are usually the best way to make more money if you're already practicing as a PA or an NP. Something that's within my wheelhouse would be moonlighting at an urgent care or an ER on the side, as a per diem gig. But these are only really great if they're offering you good money to be there, because these are stressful environments. So if someone told me they were moonlighting at urgent care for $60 an hour, I would say not worth it. If they said they were moonlighting at urgent care for $80 to $100 an hour, for $120 an hour, I think that is worth it. Take you a whole half a year to make $800 with a creative side hustle. Meanwhile, you go work one urgent care shift. So that's sort of the advantage. But keep in mind, this also means you need to be good at general medicine, and you need to go get all that credentialing, the extra paperwork. You need to get that malpractice insurance. There are extra steps. My next medical side hustle for PAs and NPs would be to consider telemedicine. You might need to be credentialed for various states, but what's advantageous here is the low overhead and high convenience. And next side hustle would be that if you were a nurse, a paramedic, a dietitian, a respiratory therapist, had some sort of medical or healthcare job before you became a PA or an NP, you could definitely go moonlight and pick up shifts doing that sort of work, on the side. And it's pretty seamless because you're kind of already doing what you know best. More examples for PAs and NPs would be going to work at a flu or vaccine clinic, because usually this is seasonal work for pharmacies, schools, health departments. You can look into one of those jobs where they provide IV hydration or a mobile wellness business. These are usually popular in tourist destinations or for athletes. Cosmetics. Some people moonlight at med spas or independently run their own Botox clinic. It really depends on state and local laws, but if you do your research, you can make it work. PAs and NPs can consider going to work for the VA or any other similar company that does disability paperwork. Another consideration is getting into academia, educating PAs or NPs, being an adjunct professor for a PA program. Also consider mentoring pre-PA students. Don't forget precepting. Some schools and programs pay for you to precept, so that is an opportunity to earn extra money on the side. You can perform chart reviews for insurance companies remotely or work as a legal expert witness for law firms for side income as a PA or an NP. You could consider joining the military. I mean, there are PAs and NPs out there. Serve your country for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, however long, and earn tens of thousands of dollars. Plus, you get the benefit of loan repayment. There are some additional benefits there. So that is always a consideration as a side income, but it does have a bigger commitment than maybe some of the other topics on this list. Disaster or wilderness medicine. There are opportunities for PAs to work through their local, state, or federal government, and you could become part of our national disaster medical system and get called to respond to places or areas that need you most. Last but not least, a more general specific term, you can look into work with an EMR such as Epic, medical device companies, or even pharmaceutical companies where they pay medical professionals to travel and sell equipment or drugs or demonstrate equipment and drugs to other healthcare providers. So that is always a consideration. These are side hustles for physician assistants, physician associates, nurse practitioners. Leave a comment down below. Share what you guys are doing right now or what you kind of think about doing in the future. And guys, as always, stay safe out there. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.